Okay, welcome to the next PCSA Maths revision video based upon the topic of averages from tables. Now, details from the exam board tell us that over 90% of students get no marks when asked to do the questions that I'm going to show you how to do in this revision video. So hopefully we can make you part of that 10% who are successful in these questions and can get these nice simple marks. Now, just a bit of a recap on some of the keywords that I might be using today. Averages and range is all about when we have a set of data and we want to find the average of them. So for example, if we're asked to work out the mean of a set of numbers, we would add them all up and then divide by how many numbers we have. If we wanted to find the median, then we would put all the numbers in order and then find the middle number. And if we were asked to find the mode, that would be the number or piece of data that comes up the most often. Now, the range isn't an average, it's simply the largest number minus the smallest number. But we just need to remember that the range is not an average, it's the largest number minus the smallest number. Now, you may be faced with a question such as this, where you're shown the information, a bit of a data set, and you are given values in that data set. For example, in this particular question, we're given information about the weight of 60 eggs, and we're given the weight in grams. Okay. Now, in this particular question, you will notice that we are given what's called class intervals. Now, class intervals tell us that, for example, in this class interval, this is telling us that there are no eggs, so the frequency, there are no eggs with a weight of greater than 0 and less than or equal to 30 grams. So it's an interval, so it's grouping a set of data together. Now, in this class interval, we are looking for, we have 14 eggs that are greater than 30 grams but less than or equal to 50 grams. So, if I had an egg that weighed 35 grams, I would record it in here. Now, we know that we're looking at 60 eggs altogether, so our frequency column is going to add up to 60, because frequency means the number of pieces of data that we have. Now, in this particular question, we're asked to estimate a mean for the weight of the egg, and we have to follow these simple steps. First thing I need to do is I need to make a new column which is called midpoint. And this is the middle value of this particular class interval. And there are a couple of ways I can do this. I can just think to myself, well, what is the number in the middle between 0 and 30? Or I can add the smallest number to the largest number and divide by 2. So 0 plus 30, and then if I divide that by 2, it gives me an answer of 15. So 15 is my midpoint here. Similarly for this one, 30 plus 50, I know is 80, and if I divide that by 2, 80 divided by 2 gives me an answer of 40, so I know my midpoint is 40. Midpoint here is going to be 55, the midpoint here is going to be 65, and the midpoint here, now before I'd go 60, 65, 70, here I might need to do my calculations. 100 plus 70 equals 170, and then if I do 170 divided by 2, that gives me an answer of 85. So 85 is my midpoint. Now, I've worked out my midpoint values, so my next step is I've got to create another column. Now, this column is going to be called my midpoint multiplied by my frequency. So I know that there are 0 eggs that weigh between 0 and 30 grams. So what I need to do is multiply 0 by 15, which gives me an answer of 0. And then I do the same for all the columns. So 14 times by 40 gives me 560. 55 multiplied by 16 gives me an answer of 880. 21 multiplied by 65 gives me an answer of 1365. 85 times by 9 gives me an answer of 765. So just to recap, first thing I've done is I found a midpoint column, so the midpoint values of these class intervals, and then I've multiplied the frequency by the midpoint. Now the next step I need to do is I need to add up so I need to find the total of my midpoint times frequency column. Now in this case it's going to give me a value of 3,570. Now it's not over yet. We've probably picked up quite a few marks for this process so far, but I'm asked to find the mean. Now the mean in this case is an estimated mean. So estimated mean, and to work out the mean we need to have the total of the frequency times the midpoint column, and that is all divided by the total frequency. I need to practice with my writing, I think. Okay, so essentially we're looking for the total of the frequency times the midpoint column divided by the frequency. So what we would say is, in this case, our mean is going to be, or our estimated mean is going to be the total of the midpoint times frequency column, 3570, divided by our total frequency, which is 60, and that gives us an answer of 59.5. So in this case, the mean weight of an egg is 59.5. I mustn't forget grams. Okay, so I'm going to leave an example on there for you to try. Again, the very simple steps is I would find my midpoint. I would find the total frequency. In this case, I'm told it's 80. This column here would be my midpoint multiplied by my frequency, so 15 times this midpoint here. I would add up the total of this column here, and I would take this number and I would divide it by my total frequency. So I'm just going to leave that one for you to try. If you were, just last thing, if you're asked to find the modal class, the modal class means the class interval with the highest frequency. So in this case, the modal class would be 60 to 70. Okay, thank you very much for the person that requested this particular topic on video. Any problems, as always, you can tweet us at PCSA Maths. At PCSA Maths. Okay, have a good day. Enjoy the weather. Bye bye.